And I'm joined by Mr. CJ Wildheart. How are you keeping, CJ?
I'm good. I'm good. I'd like to say I'm ridiculously healthy, but I'm healthy. That's the main thing. Yeah.
You're healthy enough.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about just before we sort of hit record on this thing, but as of next week, you will be hitting the road going across the UK. I'll be at the Norwich date, so really looking forward to that. I bet you can't wait. When's the last time you did a solo tour? Was it 2017,
I think
2016?
it's 2016, 2017, I think.
Crazy.
Actually, I think it's 20 years, 5 years ago, at least 5 years ago. There's a reason why I don't play solo. Is The gigs are a lot smaller, and I don't normally sell that many tickets when we go out solo. So it's like it's really hard for me to kind of I really enjoy medium-sized halls and bigger halls,
Yeah.
and I there's a few reasons why back when I was a young man, I used to do a lot of tours and and transit vans and kipping on people's floors and stuff. And you're young, but I'm 55 in December, and I can't tour like that anymore. And I need my kind of creature comforts. I need a nice
Fair enough.
backstage area. I need a bed every night. I need some crew, and it's really hard at the solo level to kind of maintain that level of comfort. So hence me not touring for 5 years, and I probably won't tour again for another 5 years. This has been so stressful.
I mean, obviously you're touring off with Scott Sorry, and obviously with Richie with GTA. That is
Yeah.
one hell of a tour. I mean, I must admit, when you announced that the youth guys were all going out together on this tour, I was excited as hell to see it, man.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, if Scott wasn't along and Richie wasn't along, I probably wouldn't be doing any solo shows. For the reason I just explained, and also going out with them too. They're like brothers to me, and it's like the last time I toured with them was years ago, and you know. Uh, I love that lineup as well of the
Mm.
Wild Hearts. I'm not a big fan of Chutzpah, but the White Album
Yeah,
is my second favorite Wild Arts album. And I always thought Scott brought something extra, an extra dynamic to the band. So the fact that the three bands are on tour together and we're sharing a tour bus as well, it's just brilliant.
yeah. I spoke to Jay a couple of weeks ago and interviewed him ahead of the new GTA album release. That is a fucking wicked record. I don't know if you've heard it.
I have, yes, yeah, it's excellent.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, so really looking forward to that. Saying like what he said, one of the things he was looking forward to the most about the tour was the fact that you guys, were all going to get to be on the tour bus together and to hang out. So it seems like you're in the same boat, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, to be honest with you, it's a really healthy bus because there's actually more non-drinkers than drinkers on it, and there's no drugs or anything like that. It's like we're not children,
No,
and it's refreshing for me to actually go out on tour and be surrounded by so many health conscious people and people who have partied like myself to death
yeah.
and have come through it, and they're just growing old gracefully. There's nothing more tragic than old men doing drugs harping on about the 90s. you know that's really sad, and this is about going out and playing and
Yeah, man.
hanging out with your mates and having a good time, and it's refreshing for me, really is.
I mean, obviously, I know, obviously, like GTA have got Pass Me the Conch coming out. Yourself, you've just released Lives, obviously, like re-recorded best of. It's Scott. I've not heard anything from Scott. Sorry for a little bit. Is he?
Yeah, I know we put out a single a few months ago,
I have to
and
check that out. I've not heard from him solo.
yeah, and he dropped another single. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. He dropped a single, a tribute to Roger, like Roger Seagull, his bass player, who was
Oh,
tragically like murdered.
I
But
did read something about that now that you mentioned.
yeah, yeah. So and I mean, my Lives album was a pre-sale. It's actually officially out in September. So
Cool.
the lucky two people who bought it from my shop, you know, you're very lucky.
So, speaking of lives, obviously it was re-recorded best of, but you also re-recorded Little Flower
Yes, yeah.
and I think is it Ireland.
What's that? A Line.
A Line, sorry, as well,
A
wasn't it?
Line. There's 4 Wildheart songs. I re-recorded OCD for the vinyl version.
Oh, okay.
And then there's A Line, Little Flower, and a song called Hit It on the Head, which was a B-side.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do. I'm sick and tired of people releasing remastered albums, best of albums, which are just compilations. It's just a money making exercise in my eyes. And if I was going to do a best of album, I needed to do something which was fresh and value for money. So I re-recorded those old tracks and remixed the 9 newer tracks, and had the same drummer who plays across everything, who's Jason Bold, who plays in all my last
I was
4
going to ask, was Jason involved in that?
yes, I had to sound like an album.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a compilation tape out, and I don't want people buying the same songs again. They've got them already. So if you're going to get them to buy those songs again, that you have to give them something new, something fresh, and I think I've achieved that, you know.
Did you approach the record or the re-recording of them sort of differently to you would have done, for example, like Little Flower with the Wildhearts, or even obviously with your own solo stuff? So obviously your first song was 94, 95, was it?
Yeah, I mean, well, like with the Honeycrack stuff, it's a lot tougher sounding because it's just me, and it hasn't got so much of that Beatles thing going on. And then with the Wildheart stuff, I kind of done them the way I wanted them done as
Yeah.
well. I was A Line came out. It was like I think it was on the Amazon version of the album, and then it was on like a vinyl thing which came out. But I hated the way it sounded with the band. Absolutely, it upset me, if I'm honest. And I had to get it remixed at one point because I said this ain't coming out the way it sounded. And I just don't think the song was given. I just don't know. Maybe it wasn't a Wildheart song. Who knows? But I prefer the demo I made, and I prefer the version I've just recorded. I just think it grooves more, and that's no offense to the Wildhearts as players. Just some songs work for the
Yeah.
Wildhearts, some work better as for me as
Yeah.
a solo artist. And Little Flower, it's got more life in it now. It sounds great on what album was it on? The album with the horrible cover, like the ugliest cover ever. Well, I can't remember what album it was on, but I remember the cover. I have nightmares about that cover. God, Renaissance Man.
Renaissance Man, wasn't it? Sorry, yeah.
It's a really good, clever cover taken from a picture that made us look like just. It's like 4 elephant men, isn't it? We actually got turned down for the role as Elephant Men because we were too ugly. Oh.
And the oil paint that didn't do you, make you even more of an oil paint.
We made it onto an album cover. But I love that version of A Little Flower. But I also love my version as well. So swings and roundabouts.
Isn't it? I mean, like they say, some stuff obviously is going to work better for you as a solo. And obviously, when everyone writes a song or is involved in the writing process of that, you're going to have your own sort of vision.
I think it's always I think it's really nice that I got a chance to re-record these songs and re-record them on my own terms. And it's really nice when you do that. It's really nice when you go back to really old songs and just go, right, I'm going to do things this way and do them that way. And I think it's something a lot of bands should do if they're thinking of putting out a best of, is re-recording the tracks.
Did you feel like you've, on certain songs, obviously you've mentioned in there, particularly with the Wildheart songs, that you got to do them, how you wanted to, how you saw the songs coming out? But did you feel there were certain songs that when you went back to that you felt like you could play better from sort of earlier solo days, or just
yeah, I mean, it's like with everything. I mean, yeah. There's elements like the Honeycrack stuff. Those guys were phenomenal musicians and singers. So I was never going to mimic what they did. It was a band with 5 singers and 5 people who could really play. And so it was always going to be more punk because I was the punk rock heart of Honeycrack, and I've always had a punk rock heart. And a lot of my solo stuff is quite hardcore punk. It's quite, but then it's really poppy as well. And but my heart's with the harder punk stuff. It's kind of, it's a road I feel most familiar with, and as long as the music's got a punk rock edge to it, I'm sold.
I mean, I thought that especially, with CJ last release, I thought that was probably the most hardcore punk thing you've done in a long time, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's a side of my heart which has come out, and it's definitely a road I'd like to carry on down. But I'm also aware that I'm known as a pop man as well, so I've always got to retain the melody and the harmony
Yeah.
as well. But I mean, I think my solo stuff is actually more punk than the Wild Hearts. You know, it's definitely the Wild Hearts definitely have a more rock and roll
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
stance. Yeah, we have elements of we can turn it on though, the metal and the punk. But my solo stuff, if you're going to describe it, I think you would say it's punk rock. Mm.
So I did see right that you were doing sort of 50-50 with the new album Split, that you were going to do like half the album punk, more punk rock, and then the more popular side of you as well on that.
What
Well,
on the tour or my next album?
on Split, the next album, yeah.
Split, yeah, Split is like 5 pop punk songs versus 5 hardcore punk songs. So
Oh,
it's a split album basically. It's just so I can exercise both demons. I'm never gonna I'm never gonna get soft and make a country album or a folk album or an acoustic album. I'd give up
yeah.
before I even go down that road. It's just something which doesn't appeal to me, and I know it appeals to the masses and lots of people. But for me, if it ain't electric, if it ain't bombastic and in your face, and then I'm gonna, I'd make a hip hop album before I'd ever go down acoustic or country or folk or anything like that. Hip hop sings to me a lot more than that type of country and folk.
But it's got
So
similar ethos to the whole punk thing, though. I mean, as well as liking my rock and my metal, like, and my punk as well. To be fair, hip hop is probably the next best thing for
yeah,
me personally. So there's a similar ethos there across the sort of, lyrical and attitude content of that.
yeah, man, I've always been into hip hop music, but and also where my families are from and stuff like that. And most of my family live in New York and Queens, so it's I've always had that kind of, when I hear the lyrics they sing to me. I don't have any family who are like cowboys or worked in coal mines and stuff.
Yeah.
My dad's from India, but he's originally from the West Indies, like British Guyana, and
Okay.
my mom's from the Seychelles, so the
Yeah.
stories they were telling me, weren't really about
Yeah.
about
Country was never
Britain
going
or
to relate
England.
to
Yeah,
you, was it?
yeah, and it's you know like Eddie. Remember Eddie Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Guyana, the same country as my dad.
Okay.
And it's reggae. Well, my dad was a big country fan. It probably put me off country for life. Yeah. I've always looked at myself as an Indian rather than a cowboy.
Yeah. Funny that. So if you got a sort of end plan for Split, then is that just like some point next year when you can, obviously, I know you like to spend the time that's needed on the material that's obviously needed until it,
I tell you what, I'm always working, and with the demise of the Wild Hearts,
mm,
I mean the Wild Hearts, we had a decent company, and we were all on wages from that company, and that's stopped now, and the company's folding, and so I'm in the process of making Split. I've started it, but I'm also on this tour. I'm recording a live album and a tour movie,
oh cool.
so that needs to be put together as well, and I've also got another hot sauce sale coming up in October.
Oh, that's
I've
good. My bottles
just
have run out.
yeah, I've just heard the vinyl's landing while I'm away on tour as well, or just before I leave for tour. So as soon as I get off the tour, I need to start packaging up vinyl and stuff. And then at some point next year, I'm going to start looking for a new band to join. I need to join an established band, a band that can put me on a wage. So
Is that what you're looking to do?
um,
Join a sort of establishing rather than obviously.
yeah, I can't start a band. It's just I don't have the finances and I don't have the time, and I have a solo band already. Who if I needed to do any like gigs with a new band, I'd go out with my solo band. But I've had people offer to start bands with me, but I'm too old. I don't have the time to do that, and I kind of got to hit the ground running. And unfortunately for a lot of artists out there, I've always been a professional musician, and this is my job,
Yeah,
and this is my bread and butter. So if I don't get paid, I don't play. It's
yeah.
not a hobby. I don't do. It's not a hobby. I have hobbies. Playing in a band isn't a hobby. you know.
It's too much
So
work to be a hobby.
yeah, and I don't have a day job. This is my job. This is what I do. I sell hot sauce. I make albums. I get them out and play shows. So if I don't get paid for those things, then I'll get a day job. I'll do something different. But you know, this isn't for fun. This isn't a hobby. You know, it's my profession, my career.
It sounds like the tour's going to be absolutely amazing, mate. Though it sounds like everyone's sort of raring to go for it, though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll be along to the Norwich date, so I'm looking forward to that. I saw that Norwich
Yeah,
got moved, and it's now at Bricky's
it's
rather.
moved. I mean, I'll be honest with you, ticket sales in autumn for a lot of bands, including this tour, they're not doing very well. People aren't buying
Yeah,
tickets. They're not spending money on luxuries like going out for dinner or at a theatre or shows because of a genuine crisis going on in this country and the rest of the world. You know, my energy bill has gone up so much. I'm actually horrified. It's like, you know, it's gone up 3 times of what I normally pay.
crazy.
And it's like I've had to stop buying stuff, you know, and so one of the first things people are going to stop buying is tickets for shows and stuff, and it's lucky enough, you know, we're not pulling the tour. I know a handful of bands who have postponed autumn tours to next year, and it's for that very reason I've just explained. But we've committed to this, and we're going out, and regardless of whether we're playing in front of 100 people, 50 people, or 200 people, it doesn't matter. We'll still put on a show. We're all on a tour bus together, and we're going to have the most amazing time.
But man, like I say, I really can't wait for this because you're doing the encore, you, Scott, and Rich as well, aren't you?
Yeah, the three of us. We're not going to play as a free piece though. We'll have, you know, guests from the other bands come up, and yeah, because you know we're going to be doing like we'll do like 3 Wildheart songs to end the night. But I've got Wildheart songs in my set as well, so you know it's I mean this tour is like a celebration of for me it's a celebration of my career over the last, you know, 30 odd years. So you know it's a best of set, and it's just going to be great getting up playing those songs, and there's a bunch of solo songs I've never played live as well. So I'm doubly excited to be playing them as well as getting up with Richie and Scott at the end.
But is there any particular stuff from your solo career that you saying there's certain songs that you've not played live before? Is there any that are singing out at you that you really can't wait to get up and?
Yeah, Peking Duck is one of the songs, which was the first song off my last mini album, Siege, my last solo
I'm
album,
really
and
glad you're speaking, Doc, mate. I'm really
yeah,
glad with that.
yeah. I've always wanted to play that one live, and then I mean, I'm going to play like Little Flower. I'm actually going to get up and play Little Flower with Scott and Richie, but can't wait to do that Little Flower and a line as well. I'm playing with my band. There's a handful of songs. It'll be great. I mean, it's always good doing the Honeycrack stuff and a couple of Jelly songs as well. It's those songs people know, so you know you can't help but dance when Lemonade Girl is playing. You know, you have to be a right miserable sod not to like get up and just kind of have a bit of a dance and a sing along when that song plays. So I just think this tour's got so much good feeling around it that the people who do attend the shows
We're gonna have a
are going to
great.
walk away with huge smiles on their faces, and that's what it's all about.
Well, even your guitars have had facelifts and getting ready for. I saw the sort of pyrography that got done
Oh,
on. That
Mabel.
looks amazing, man.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. She's actually, I'll get her. She's here.
Oh, cool.
These aren't just for show. I mean, I've been recording with this all day. I don't know if you can see
Amazing,
it.
mate. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
love.
yeah, it's
That looks
it's just
amazing.
it's just a beautiful guitar, and the fact that I got it on eBay for 120 quid is just
Is that what you
uh,
paid for that?
it's one of those cheap Epiphone Studio Dots or something. There, I think you can get them for about £300, 350 quid. I mean, it's Epiphone guitars aren't expensive, and
Ah,
there's a snobbery with a lot of guitarists. The reason why I got that is we were in Japan, and BA lost all our gear, and they lost my Lucille.
yeah.
I don't know, you know, which is a vintage Gibson guitar, and it's worth thousands. And so we had some guitars hired in, and I had a vintage 335 hired in for me, which I loved,
Hmm.
and I wanted to buy. Unfortunately, it was £8,000. And only 2 types of people spend £8,000 on a guitar, and that's idiots or rich people. Yeah,
Well, worth.
8 grand on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
It's just it isn't going to happen, man. That's like, you know, that's halfway, you know, to a decent car. I'd much rather have a car than a guitar any day. And you know, my guitars are tools, and I don't collect guitars, so I went completely the opposite. I
Yeah.
got the cheapest piece of crap I could find, which turned out to be a beautiful guitar. It sounds amazing. I put great pickups in it. It's had a lot of work done to it, but it sounds amazing. It's my best playing guitar. It's my most solid guitar, and it's an Epiphone, you know, and it's incredible. But people have told me you get lucky with some cheap guitars. You get some amazing ones.
I've got to agree with you. I mean, I play bass myself, and
Mm,
for a long time I wanted a Gibson Thunderbird. I've always liked Thunderbird basses, always liked the rarity
yeah.
of the sound. And you know, growing up, teenager and all that, couldn't afford a Gibson by any means. So I went and saved up and got my Epiphone. And I don't know what it was, but it seemed to fit my hands, that fretboard, and it just seemed to fit naturally. In fact, you say about pickups. A mate of mine, he set up a business in the last year, doing hand wound pickups himself and
Oh,
called Owen's Pickups, and I've got Sean at the minute. He's got my old bass because I moved into this house about a year, 2 years ago now,
yeah.
and my mum was sorting stuff out in the loft, and she was like, I've still got this in the loft, Lee, and I was like, I'll have that, and I'm like, and it sounds all right, but it doesn't, it's a bit
Yeah.
old now. It still sound a bit raw, so. I said to Sean, I said, you can put a couple new pickups on that. Could you? He said, yeah, I can chuck some pickups on that for you. So Sean's got it at the minute doing that. So yeah, I know what you mean. When it feels right, it feels right.
I mean, you know, I can see my two vintage Gibsons in the corner there, and you know, I pick them up, and there's a weight and there's a resonance to them. But you know, they're old guitars and they're expensive guitars, but it's great when an underdog can shine, and I'm a firm believer in, like, you know, betting on the mongrel, because pedigrees are too inbred, and that's what happened to Gibson. Yeah. They started mixing Les Pauls with Flying V's, and it doesn't fucking work. They fucked with the original plan, their original manifesto, and the guitars started to suffer for
Yeah,
that very reason. And hence people, you know, always after the vintage Gibsons, because they were, you know,
yeah,
better guitars. But my Epiphone can kick the ass of the, you know, most vintage Gibsons, yeah. And it looks cooler as
yeah. It
well.
looks cool as fuck, man. Who did all
Yeah.
the choreography on that anyway?
It's a guy called Cy Easton. His company's called Wood Tattoos,
Oh, yeah.
and he's done a few things for fans of the band. He normally does these custom made like picture frames, which are beautiful.
Mm.
But I said to him, I said, would he be interested? I'm Dragon from the Backyard
Oh, yeah.
Babies and Helicopters. He has a guitar, 335 with the pyrography or whatever it's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
on it, and I said to Cy, would he be up for doing one of my guitars? And the this guitar's so cheap, it hasn't got much varnish on it. It's like a satin finish.
All right, yeah.
So I can imagine if you were doing it on a guitar which has got layers of lacquer on it, that you'd have to kind of sand it
Yeah,
back and
smooth it
get
back
rid of
out.
that layer. So he could just go straight into this and start burning. And that's what he did. He took it away and we worked together. He showed me various designs. I had stickers on there already, and I wanted to incorporate what stickers were on there already. So he kind of took them as a template, and what he's done is just amazing. Everyone who sees it's just like, my God, that guitar. I mean, it looks like a weapon. It's
Yeah.
great.
So
Yeah.
when I saw the photos of it, man, it looked insane. And obviously, just seeing
Mm,
it looked
mm.
really
And
good.
I'm taking it out with me, you know, in a few weeks, and I just can't wait to, you know, get it out there and go loud with
Yeah,
it.
well, I'll see it in the flesh in a couple of weeks then.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the tour itself, mate, who's in who's in your solo band at the moment?
So I've got Ben. Do you know Ben Marsden, guitarist?
Yeah, yeah.
He yeah, plays with Warner Hodges, and I think he plays with Ryan Hamilton as well. And he's on lead. And then I've got another guitarist called Dave Norris. They're both like Harrogate lads. He's doing all of the melodic guitars, and then I'll be doing all mostly rhythm and singing. The last time I toured solo, I had backing tracks because of the amount of guitars and stuff I have. So I didn't want to use them this time, and I have a drummer who's based down in Shrewsbury, Craig McKay, he's called. He's an amazing tattoo artist as well, incredible tattoo artist. And he's on drums. And then I've got my old time like bass player, Lee Ray, who's been with like every version of solo band I've had since about 2005, I think, 2006. He's been with me, Lee Ray. And yeah, they're all really good players. We hit the rehearsal studio next week.
Oh, nice.
Got like 4 days of rehearsing, and then we're straight out on tour. So you know, everyone's done homework, everyone knows their parts, and yeah, it's going to be brilliant.
Because I know Ben particularly out of a lot of them, so I'm imagining. Yeah, I know Ben will do his homework. So
He's phenomenal, Ben. He's a
right.
phenomenal player. Yeah, absolutely. And he's singing most of the harmonies as well. He's
Oh,
got a
is he?
great voice. Yeah, he's got a brilliant voice, really good voice.
Oh, that's cool. I've not seen so. I'm known him more for his guitar playing than I do him singing. So it'll be good to see
Well,
that.
you're gonna hear a lot of his singing on this tour. So I mean, he is. I mean, he's got a great voice. So I've got all bases covered, and I don't need to use backing tracks. So less things can go wrong.
So you're saying obviously like you're treating the tour as a sort of a celebration of your career. Is
Hmm.
the set list reflective of that, or is it mainly your solo work as a?
No, it's got a bit of everything. There's wild art stuff in there, jelly stuff, honey crack, and solo stuff. I mean, I can't with like Scott and Richie's band out. We kind of got like an equal amount of time on stage. So there isn't. I can't play for like an hour and a half, but I wouldn't want to play for an hour and a half. I think a good hour is a good amount of time with some encores as well. And then Scott will be playing his headline and set, and Richie as well. So it's a really really good evening.
It'd be good to see Scott because I've not seen Scott obviously since before he was ill. So
Yeah.
it'd
Yeah.
be really good to see Scott again.
He's in a really positive frame of mind as well, and
That's good.
his last scan was clear, so he's raring to come over, absolutely raring, and his band are great as well. They're all really nice people, so yeah, I think it's a bit, it's almost like a holiday, this one for
Yeah.
us, that we just get to play. But it's going to be so good just hanging out with those guys.
And say you're looking forward to it by your face, mate. You can see you look same sort of things. I always say vibe I was getting off of Jay when I was speaking to him. It just seems like everyone's really looking forward to it. So is Scott bringing his band over from the States with him as well, or is
Yes, yeah,
oh,
yeah. He's
brilliant.
bringing the whole band over from America. So
Oh, nice.
mm, mm.
Yeah, I didn't
I
know.
don't think I don't think we're going to make much money on this tour, but it's
But
like
you'll have a lot of fun.
these these type of tours don't happen often. So it isn't something I could do like 4 or 5 times a year. I'd be bankrupt. But you got to. I'm not going to go out and play. Um, if I can't play halls like this, I probably would stop playing live on my own because I just don't want to go out in transit vans and driving myself to gigs and staying in Premier Inns. I don't want to tour like that. It's just I'd rather bow out gracefully.
Yeah.
You get a lot of like older artists, especially some of my colleagues and stuff. And you know, I'll be honest, there might be a time in the near future where I'll just have to put my hands up and say, right, I can't play live anymore, and I'll just carry on recording albums and sticking them out and doing my hot sauce.
Yeah.
I like bigger shows, as I said before, and I like big stages, and I like big PAs and lights and a nice backstage area.
Yeah.
And I used to love playing in pubs. I just don't want to play them anymore. You know, I don't want to play them. So who knows what the future holds? But I think I'll always make albums and produce hot sauce. So
Oh,
2 out of 3 ain't too bad.
it's not too bad, man. Not too bad at all. I remember seeing that status you put up, might have been a couple of months ago now, saying that, stuff was starting to get on top of you. And obviously, it was around about the time you lost your dad as well. So sorry to hear
Yeah.
that as well. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was this year's been a tricky one. Last year was although losing my dad was it's traumatic for anyone to lose a dad, especially. I mean, I love my dad; he was my hero. But
same boat.
last year was rough. It was a rough year, and I know the band toured a lot and stuff, but the fallout
Yeah.
of last year is the fact that the band, the Wild Arts, aren't a fully functioning band at the moment. And, I don't want to have another year like that. And this year has been about healing, and it's been about, getting healthy and coming to terms with certain things. And it feels good. It feels good not knowing what's around the corner. I've got plans afoot, but the potential, the feeling that I could actually join another band who are out there touring kind of excites me. And I think I'm a good enough guitarist and musician and singer to join another band.
Doing it long enough, mate.
Yeah, I've made an album once. I made a demo once.
Yeah.
I've done a gig.
Done
I have my own microphone.
You're in.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, man. I lost my dad a few years ago to cancer, and like Tim, sounds like you had a similar relationship, but we had similar relationships with our dad because mine was my absolute hero. And once I do a festival every year for the hospice that looked after him and stuff.
Mm.
And when I started putting that on, you know, and start doing something positive out of it. And I could see that it was doing some good in terms of what we're doing for everyone else. You know, you do get to a point where the hole's never been filled in 12 years and it's not going to be filled ever.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can see a new path and a new way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I mean that hole in your heart, it's there forever. But I've said this before. I'm looking at a picture of my dad and my boy together, and when he passed, I had to take it down. It was just hurting me too much. But it's up there now, and all I feel is love when I look at it. It's great. It's lovely. It's just and it's I feel I mean there's a couple of things I feel really privileged. I feel really privileged that I've got grey hair. That I've been on earth long enough to have grey hair, and I'm getting older, you know, and I'm approaching 60. It's I can see it. I feel really privileged, and I also feel privileged that I had a man like my dad in my life as well, because I know a lot of people who, you know, their dads, their parents just weren't there for them. And my dad was a constant, and he always supported me, and he was always proud. Even at my worst moments, even when I did the most horrendous things, he still picked me up, you know, gave me a quick slap and said, you know, sort your shit out, man. This isn't you. You
Yeah, I
know,
had a similar thing.
and I should have, you know, the example I was set by that man, you know, I should have led. I should have gone down that road, and you know, I got there in the end. You know,
We all
that's the
get there
main
in the
thing.
end. You've got
Yeah.
to try a few different paths before you find the one you should be on. That's
Yeah,
the right
yeah,
thing.
and you know, well, he's 8 now. My 8-year-old boy, I became a dad much later on in life, but you know, I need him to look at me and know I'm not some, you know, drug-addled loser touring around the world thinking they're in Guns N' Roses. I mean, that is just awful.
I'm sure Josh doesn't think of that of you, mate.
He doesn't know. He doesn't. I'm definitely the bad cop though. In his mum's good cop and I'm bad cop. I'm the one. I'm the disciplinarian.
Works well as a team, mate. Everyone needs a good backup when they're growing up.
It does. I had to have words with him the other day. He's away at the moment with his mum and stepdad, and he was playing up on his holiday. So I had to have a dad chat with him. And I told him I need a good report when I get back off tour, because if he's bad when I'm away, he's not going to get a little present at the end of it. So.
So I'm sure he'll be on his best behaviour now, then, mate.
It has to be, yeah, because I know what he wants something, and he's not going to get it if he's bad. So.
Sounds
He's going to bribe people.
Sounds like life's pretty sweet, mate. To be honest,
It's it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot better, but I'm surrounded by people I love and people who love me, and you know, that's all that matters.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So after the tour, what does the rest of the year hold out for you? You just, they say, focusing on doing. I'm guessing off you doing the video that we were talking about.
I'm doing I've got the film crew out for 3 shows of filming, and we're going to capture footage on the whole of the tour. So I'm going to make a road movie out of that.
Nice.
And we're going to record 2 of the live shows. So we're making a live album. So that needs to be mixed. We need to get the artwork together for that. I don't know when all this stuff is coming out. And I have to record my next solo album. And I have another hot sauce sale as well in October. So I keep busy. I mean, if I don't work, I don't get paid, you know? So I can't sit around and do nothing. I have to keep on doing stuff. And I always have to be 4 or 5 steps ahead. Yeah. As well. I'm thinking about how I'm going to earn money in February or March next year. You know, I am a sole trader, you know, and so, you know, but yeah, I am going to put my flag up at some point next year and like say to bands, I'm here, you know. I will wear a dress and I will wear makeup.
You tick 2 boxes then, mate. Guitarist and token female, you know.
Yes, yeah. Back in the day, in the right light, I could have passed for a very tall, handsome female.
Yeah, she could. I never could, but you know, some of us weren't born with the same genes as you, mate. So.
Levi's, man, Levi's, not quite
enough. So at the beginning of the interview, mate, as you mentioned it, I'm going to play Peking Duck. But what song of yours would you like us to play at the end?
Off lives, yeah.
Off anything.
Let me think. And you're playing Peking Duck, and a line.
Yeah. I'm up for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I like the groove on that. It's got a bit of a Bad Religion thing going on as well. So
Oh, sweet, man. Well, look, then. Well, CJ, thanks for your time again, as always, mate. Great to talk to you. And I'll see you in Norwich, pal.
yes, yes. Come up and say hello.
I will do, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, none of us bite.
Jay said the same thing, so I've been told I've got to go say hello to Jay.
We're all lovely people. All right, take care, man.
You too,
Sweet.
man. Cheers,
Bye
CJ.
bye.
Bye, man.
Take it easy.